14 days ago, myself and 14 friends started recording episode 1 of Just Create SMP Season 2. 3 days later, the biggest Create mod in years surprise released. And I am, of course, talking about Create Aeronautics, a mod that lets you bring physics to Minecraft, meaning working airships, boats, cars, planes, and a whole lot more. Sadly, as the Just Create server has 15 people on it, and we don't know how the mod will hold up long term, until we can be confident it won't break the world down the line, it's not really something we can add right now. But that's not to say it wouldn't be added in future. However, I can add it to this series. This is my own little world, and it's just me. So Perfect World post-production has just got an upgrade. I've added aeronautics, and we've got loads of new fun stuff to play with. And hopefully it won't break anything. And if it does work on here fine for the next week or two, then I will update the public pack, of course, and make sure that you can all have it in this pack as well. I did have to fiddle with a couple of things to get it working, but we got there eventually. And I have taken a backup of this world just in case everything goes wrong. But from all the reports I've seen so far, it does seem like this is actually an incredibly stable mod. So fingers crossed we should be okay. Now, I don't actually know much about this mod at all, besides physics and movement is now a thing. I've not really watched much about anything beyond the trailer, so we're going to need to do a whole lot of pondering and experimenting to find out what it's all about. So let's head closer to storage, build ourselves a giant platform, and basically just give ourselves somewhere to mess about with this new mod. Now, a clever person would be in creative right now when they're first experimenting with a new mod, but, well, I'm not that clever. And I want to know how the mod's going to work in relation to my world. So that means the crafting things, the recipes, all that stuff as well. That's not to say we won't mess around in creative later to build some wild and wacky things, but for now, we're just going to experiment right here in this world. So let's build ourselves a great big platform, and to be honest, it's only temporary, so I'm just going to build it out here. There we go, one big platform. So plenty of space to mess around with aeronautics stuff. So with Create Aeronautics, there's all this stuff. I don't know what this is. Levitate blend buckets. That sounds fun. We've got hot air burners, we've got hot air envelopes, steam vents and propellers and bearings and mounted potato cannons. Well, that just sounds fun. We've also got Levitite, and you'll notice we've got sort of extra things here. So this says floating 10 kpg. Don't actually know what that means. This one says super light 0.25 kpg. Ah, kpg, is that the weight? And this one's 50% bouncy. That just sounds fun. But it's not just this stuff. If we search for aeronautics, we get this. But if we search for simulated, we get all of this other stuff as well, which is also part of the same thing. We've got all sorts of velocity sensors and altitude sensors, gimbal sensors, navigation tables, docking connectors. They sound fun. Ooh, we've even got a steering wheel, throttle levers, a linked typewriter. Grants convenient control over many redstone link frequencies assigned to its keys. Oh, right, okay, I see. So it's like a redstone controller, but with lots and lots of options. Directional linked receivers. Okay, there's lots of weird stuff in here. Torsion springs and directional gear shifts. Rope connectors, winches, swivel bearings. But the most important thing of all, I believe, is this, the physics assembler. So let's have a quick look at this. Basically, this is what makes things simulated contraptions. So if we stick that to anything, we make sure it's all glued together. We can use super glue or honey glue. And then when you turn it on, it turns into a physics object and then can be moved and manipulated around the world. So let's try that first. We need a lever, andesite casings, and alloy. I mean, we've actually got that in our bag. Perfect. Then we're also going to need super glue. We're going to grab a couple of these. I imagine we're going to need them throughout today. And then we're going to need a few blocks. So let's just do that. Let's stick those together. Put the physics assembler on it and pull the lever. Is that now a physics object? Oh, it is. Look, we can wobble it around. Punch it enough, we can knock it over. And I've already discovered a problem here. When I try and remove this, it's kind of duplicating the items, I think. So if I now put these back on, yeah, they're coming back. Okay, it appears we can solve the problem. We're in the middle of a thunderstorm. Let's sleep. This is not a good time to be messing around on a big platform with big blocks. Right, there we go. That's better. So this is still a physics object that we are building on. We can still move it by punching it. We can add things to it. However, if I remove things, there's like a visual glitch until I right-click. So not a world-ending bug, but it's still not ideal. But it is pretty awesome that we can just build like this onto an object that already exists. But then we can turn that back into a normal thing. And now it's no longer a physics object. It's just solid again. Okay, so we've got the basics of that thing. Now, something else that's probably going to be important here is a contraption diagram. So this will actually tell us lots of things about whatever it is we're building and essentially let us know if we can actually get it to fly. So let's make a contraption diagram. And I think, what with it being aeronautics, it makes sense for me to probably try and make a hot air balloon to begin with. Quite a basic thing. Maybe we should make ourselves some aviators goggles as well. They look like they might be useful. So let's make goggles and then we'll turn them into aviator goggles. Let's put them on, and I'll be honest, I kind of want to see what they look like. Oh yes, look at that. All the goggles. So I'd imagine we're going to need some hot air envelopes. Let's just see how these work. The envelope blocks enclose a volume that generates lift when filled with hot air. I mean, that makes sense. So we're going to need a little burner thing here by the looks of it. Hot air must be contained by airtight blocks. Oh, okay. So we need to encase shafts in things. Right. That makes them airtight. Blocks inside the balloon will reduce the available volume. We can paint them with dye. And look at this. This balloon's got a little propeller on the back of it. But let's just start with something basic that can go up and down. So it looks like we're going to need a hot air burner, which means we need blocks of coal. It's easy enough. So there we go. That's one air burner. And then we're going to need these hot air envelopes. So let's just make a bunch of these. And I've also just grabbed myself a bunch of wood. And maybe we should get ourselves a seat as well. So let's start nice and simple. We're going to build a little wooden platform with a burner in the middle that has a max output thing. Okay. We should probably actually see how we fuel this thing. Oh, okay. It's just when powered with redstone. So if we do that, hot air. Okay, no suitable balloon found. So, I guess we should build a balloon. First up, let's build a little chain. And this is our hot air envelope. Let's just build up a little ball like that. Make sure it's all attached. I guess we're going to have to glue this whole thing together. That would make sense. All right, I think that's all glued together. So let's put the physics assembler down and turn that into a physics thing, which I think I've done. And if we turn this on, is that going to start generating lifts? I mean, it hasn't actually turned on our burner. It sounds like it's doing something. It's not doing anything. Maybe I need to put this on. So what does this mean? Okay, so it has a balloon lift force. It just wasn't lifting and wasn't rendering. So I figured out the problem. I think we just needed a bigger balloon. So if we now assemble this, we can see our gravity force of 497. And then if we power this, although the flame's not going, I assure you, ow, it's definitely there. And we're wobbling, we're moving, we're going up. So we have a lift force of, well, it's still climbing. Our gravity force, oh, this is awesome. We're actually flying. Look at that. Wonder how high up it will go. I mean, is it just going to keep going up forever? The answer to that is no. We seem to have stopped around about here. And I guess it's because the air is thinner, so our lift force and gravity are starting to balance out. I guess that makes sense. Otherwise, you'd just keep going up forever. And then if we turn this off, I assume we're just going to fall straight back down to the ground. And instead of going in for a soft landing, we're just going to see what happens if you just let it fall out of the sky. Is it going to hurt me? Oh, here it comes. It's not that fast, is it? No, we were fine. Right, now we figured out how to go up and down with a hot air balloon. Now to make it move, actual sort of left, right, and so on. I think it's time for me to do lots of pondering. Right, so I've just pondered a few more things here. We've actually got steam vents, and these are quite cool. So they work a bit like the flame boiler type thing, except they need water, they need heat just like a normal boiler, and they produce more thrust. So basically, for bigger airships, this is probably what you want. But I'm not worried about that just yet. We'll play around with that later. But now we've got these propellers that we can use. We have a wooden propeller, we have an andesite propeller, and we have a smart propeller, which is a propeller that will always try and point upwards. We don't really want that. What we want is an andesite propeller. Right, there we go. One andesite propeller. So I'm going to stick that on the back here. And I guess it's going to need power. How do we power it? I didn't see anything about how to power it. Aha, portable engine. How does this work? So basically it burns fuel, creates force. You can insert fuel automatically, okay. And blaze cakes can superheat them. Good to know. So how do we make an engine? We need a blast furnace, an iron sheet, and an engine assembly. So it looks like we're going to need a new machine. Saw and a press that loops round. Got presses on me. I've got a bunch of Create stuff on me, actually, because I've still not emptied my backpack from last episode where we built lots and lots of factories. So let's go see if we've got space anywhere to build this thing. Fairly sure our workshop, however, was pretty full. These floors are definitely a no-go. I mean, we can probably squeeze it in the middle of the floor here. That could work. So we need a saw, a belt, mechanical press. We're going to want cogs there to make sure they're going in alternate directions. In fact, let's put the cogs on that side, because then all we need is a couple of bolts here and here, a few item drains, brass funnel there that only lets sheets out, andesite funnels there, there, and there. Then we just need power. I think that should do it. Although it does occur to me I've done this slightly wrong. We need just a normal funnel there. We need a brass funnel here. And then once we've got a completed one of these, that's what we're going to put in that filter. And I don't think I've got any filters on me. I also don't have any more wool on me. Well, we've got plenty in storage, so let's just set this up. Engine assembly. We want that as a deny list. Put that on there. And so that we can actually access these, let's just swap out the bolts for chests. That'll make much more sense. We'll just swap out the iron for andesite, so it ties in with everything in here a bit better. Now we can just keep sending these round again, make a bunch of engine assemblies. There we go. One engine. So if we put this here and give it a bit of coal, look at that. Right, so I've just added in a clutch here as well so that we can activate and deactivate the propeller. So we can turn that on and off. I'll turn this back into a contraption. We've got the burner going. And now if we flick this, doesn't appear to be doing anything. Maybe it's just not producing enough thrust. It's producing a tiny, tiny, tiny amount. So if we just drop back down now, the question is, have we moved? I feel like we have. Let's just reverse direction briefly. And then let's drop back down. Oh yeah, we definitely moved. Okay, so thrust works. We just need more of it. So how about if we get rid of that, make 2 more of them, stick them all on the back like that, and we'll take off again. Oh, no, maybe not. Haven't stuck the things on. There we go. Let's try that again. So our center of gravity is a little bit off now because of all the extra weight from the engines. So let's add a little more weight to the front and try that again. Still a little bit back heavy, but it's not awful. What happens, however, if we give this some power? Whoa! Well, once again, we do have a graphical problem of our blades not spinning, but we're definitely going forwards. And if we reverse direction, we're going to tilt the other way because we're going to go backwards. Well, actually, I'll tell you what, that pretty much levels us out, doesn't it? That is cool, though. We now know how to make it go forwards and backwards. And I guess if I wanted to go left and right, I could just put propellers on the sides and control them by pulling different levers as well. But then I guess that's where that whole typewriter thing comes in. But we're running out of space on this tiny little airship. I think we need something a little bit bigger. What I'm going to do is disassemble this in its entirety. And we're going to build ourselves a much bigger ship that we can experiment with. It has just occurred to me that I'm actually wearing my pirate skin from the JCSMP for this episode, apparently. But I guess we are building an airship, so it kind of makes sense. But it wasn't intentional. But anyway, that's my entire afternoon gone. Look at this thing. In fact, let's jump into free cam so we can have a proper look. I built ourselves a giant airship. And in fact, I feel like that top section there should probably be nudged back a few blocks. Although I guess if we're going to be adding propellers and things, it's going to balance it out on this side anyway. I don't know. We'll figure that out later. For now, I just want to test if this thing works. So we're going to assemble it. I've put down a couple of engines because I don't think one outputs enough power to actually lift this thing. So let's give 2 engines a go. And if we have a look at our little charts here, we can see it's starting to get balloon lift force. And we are going up. Hey, look at us go. Oh, that's so cool. Well, it doesn't look like we're going to get very much height, does it? Maybe we need more burners. Oh, them ones are animated. But anyway, let's make holes there and there. Yep, there we go. We're going back up again. In fact, we're going up nice and quickly. Look at that. This is so cool. I absolutely love this. And we're certainly much higher up now. But yeah, that does look a little bit wonky, doesn't it? But the only thing that's properly attaching the bottom to the top is these two little bits here, these two sort of rows of fence posts. The rest is actually just using these really cool ropes, but they don't work with the sticky glue stuff, super glue stuff. So if we just detach those two bits there, we can probably just use a piston to nudge the whole balloon backwards. Let's go down and do that now. So let's turn those off. We should drop out of the sky. Then we're going to need to figure out propulsion. And to be honest, I don't think these little propellers are going to be enough. But not to worry, I have a plan. Right, what do we need to do? We need to disassemble that bit. That makes it solid again. Let's just attach that fence there and that fence there. Get ourselves a mechanical piston and a crank. So we'll put that there. We're going to stick a few of these on. We're going to push that way. Oh no, it broke all my ropes. But the balloon is in a much better position over the boat now. Okay, the ropes are now back on. We're definitely looking a lot better. Now let's have a look at propulsion. So we've played around with these propellers here, but we also just have propeller bearings. So if we were to make one of these, then I believe we can just build our own propeller as large as we want. Something like that. But good. So let's make a propeller bearing, grab a bunch of wool, and see what we can make. So if we stick our clutch in there with an engine on the back, then a propeller bearing, then this is what we're going to build our propeller on. Alrighty, I've attached a giant propeller. Let's just see if this thing's actually going to work. Let's put a lever on the back here. I don't think it's getting enough power. We might need more engines. Well, I accidentally made 9 instead of just a couple more, but that's fine. Let's just put these in like this. Give them all some coal. And still overstressed. There we go. We are spinning. I think I need to move those ropes out of the way a little bit, don't you? Let's just get rid of those temporarily. We'll just attach them on there instead. Out of the way now. Perfect. So let's turn that off for now. Get ourselves assembled. Get up into the air. And it would appear we're very back heavy at the moment. So let's quickly drop back down to the bottom. I have an idea on how we can solve that. That is by getting some super heavy blocks of iron. And we're just going to use the iron as ballast at the front of the ship here. Let's just put a little bit in for now. And we'll take off and see how we're doing. Are we more balanced now? We are. I think I just need maybe another block. Oh, we're still a bit tilted. Let's add a few more. Okay, let's turn this on and see what happens. Well, still no animation, but we're definitely moving. We're actually flying an airship around. How cool is this? I really need to figure out what's causing this animation issue, though. Oh, hello. It's just started working. Everything's just started working. Well, now it just looks even better. So we still can't turn left and right, which means for now, we're just going to have to reverse direction. Oh, and that's actually blowing me. So let's see if we can fly back to our platform here. And yes, I know the ballast doesn't look particularly great right now, but that's fine. We'll sort something else out. Turns out that fan on the back is really heavy. Okay, it looks like we should land on the platform, give or take. So now to figure out how we turn. Now, it seems to me the obvious thing to do will be to put propellers on the side like this. Same over here. And I don't know if this is going to be enough power. We might have to do something a little bit bigger. But I'm hoping if we then put clutches on these, then a gearbox and an engine, give that some fuel. And if we use a redstone link there and there, set them to receive. In fact, when I was pondering, I did see this, the powered transmission. So that'll enable us to speed up and slow things down. Maybe that's what we want. Let's go make a couple of those. So let's stick one in there and one in there. Then we'll put cogs down below, gearbox, the speed controller with an engine, and we'll give that engine power. Now, if we put redstone links on these, set this one to dark oak, set this one to mangrove. So this is a throttle lever, and if we right-click this, that will make sure it's always got signal. So if we then power that, that should stop that fan. But then if we ever so slightly up the strength of that, it's now blowing, but it's blowing in the wrong direction. But we can control the speed of it, which is awesome. So I just need to invert direction on this one. Now that should be blowing out. And if we put it all the way to 0, that should turn it off completely. Nope, okay, it's a little bit backwards. 14 is really, really fast. And then 15 is off. So let's go make ourselves another analog lever. In fact, let's make a few. We're probably going to need these. If we put this one here and do exactly the same thing, then that's going to allow us to control this one, which is also going the wrong way. So I'll tell you what, let's just do this and change the direction. So we've now got control over this one. Let's go move these controls somewhere a little bit more useful. I wonder, can we link this up to the steering wheel somehow? So it looks like it's good for rudder control. It's basically like a valve at a different angle, but you can also use redstone to read the output. Aha. Interesting. So let's make ourselves a steering wheel. We'll make some comparators as well. Then let's just go back down here and we'll see how this works. If we have a comparator on each side there with redstone links. Oh, and I've just turned it red. Didn't mean to do that. Now, if I turn it all the way that way, that fan's gone off. That one's still going. Oh, in fact, we can see it working if we look just here. Look, we can see it's going really fast. Then we can see we're slowing it down. And if we go all the way to the top, it stops. That means when we're not going left or right, we've actually got a little bit of fan coming from both of them. I'm not sure if this is going to work particularly well. What I also want to know is, does it work like this? No. So that means for us to get this to work up here, we would literally need to have this kind of a setup, which is going to look really messy. Not sure I like that. Now let's see what these other linked receivers are. Maybe these will be useful. So this one's weird. It just depends on the angle to the receiver on how powerful it actually is. And if it's behind it, it can't receive it at all. Not sure how that would be useful right now, to be perfectly honest. What about this one, the modulating linked receiver? This one detects distance. Yeah, once again, not useful for our current problem. I'm sure there's probably something really smart you can do with those, but I am not really smart. Okay, so I'll set my controls up. I've got my steering wheel here, which, yes, does look janky. We'll try and work something out later. We've got this giant analog lever here, which, one, does look awesome. Absolutely love it, just for decoration purposes. But this is actually going to be what turns these things here on and off, hopefully. Yep, there we go. If we turn them all the way up, do they go bigger? They do. Ooh. So we can actually control the height properly with this thing. That's cool. And then I've also got this lever here, which will control the fan at the back. So I guess the only thing left to do is assemble everything. You can see our center of gravity is looking good. So let's turn on our let's turn on our balloons. Okay, we are going up nice and quickly. We're still a bit wonky. Does this work to turn us left and right? That is the question. I've swung it all the way to the right-hand side, which should turn this one off and actually make us go left. But I can't see if it's turning, and it doesn't appear that we're turning either. I'm guessing that that fan there is just not big enough to do what we want it to do. So my ship seems to have got itself spun around a bit, so what I'm going to do is try and rotate it. And I'm hoping that if we just do this... Nope, it broke the rope. But there is a rope winch. Maybe that's what I need. I just need an iron sheet and a piece of industrial iron. So if we put this here, there we go, get that attached. If we now winch this, is that going to pull our boat? It is. But ideally, we want the front staying around here somewhere. So if I do that and attach another rope, now when we winch, hopefully it should reach a point where that rope is too tense. No, it's not spinning it around at all, is it? Let's try adjusting where the winch is. And it's just not really spinning it round, is it? Maybe it just needs a couple of blocks to block its progress. Oh, there we go. It's turning a little bit. Little by little. Very, very little. Right, well, that was quite the challenge, but I have managed to get it back in position over here. But I think we can safely say that that didn't work. So next question, can we make a rudder instead? And if a rudder's going to work, I guess it's gonna need to be on the other side of this fan. Means it's gonna need to stick out like that. Ugh. Oh, I don't like that at all. Maybe we could add a smaller fan down the bottom here and then use that as a rudder. I need to give this some thoughts and maybe do some research. I found something called symmetrical sails. And when angled away from the direction of motion, drag is applied. So that means we should be able to turn without needing an additional fan. So let's make a bunch of sails. turn them into symmetrical sails. And we're going to make a swivel bearing. So we'll put a swivel bearing down there, and then we're going to get this connected up to our steering wheel. Okay, I think I've got the rudder in and sorted. And if we spin our wheel to the left and right, we can see that the rudder itself is moving. Big question, of course, is it effective? So let's get up into the air and find out. Right, well, it's not going well. We've somehow ended up all the way over here. I've been floating around a little bit. My rudder seems to do absolutely nothing. I've even made it massive now, so I'm going to keep making it bigger until it finally does do something. How about now? So we've got forward thrust. We've got the rudder set all the way in one direction. It does not seem to want to turn. So now we're kind of stuck up here in the sky, nowhere near our platform, and we can't turn the ship, so we can't get back to the platform. Oh, we've crashed in the ocean. Not ideal. Well, I just turned my contraption on, and as you can see, we've had a bit of a problem. I don't know what all of that mess is. That is clearly my fan floating in the water down there. All my ropes have fallen off again. My stairs have collapsed, and they're all the way over here now for some reason. And just generally, it's not looking particularly great. But good news, my test of putting a larger fan on the side is allowing my airship to turn. So now we're lopsided, we're broken, and we're spinning in circles. Clearly, everything has been a great success so far. So let's just stop spinning around in circles for now. Let's see if we can lower ourselves down a little bit and at least try and reattach our fan. Which means we're going to need some slime balls. We've not had to do this yet, so let's hope it works. So we've got plenty of slime balls. Let's grab all of those. I don't know how this is going to go. So if we click that there, and I guess we're too far away, so let's lower down a tiny bit more. Now I think what we might actually need to do is winch up the sail. So if we do that, attach a rope, hopefully we can winch this thing up. Working? It's working. Still too far away. That tells me we need more winching. Then remove this winch. Lower that one slightly. Try again with this one. See if we can get it in a better position. Let's just let that fall in again. This time we'll winch from there up to here. That's gotta reach, surely. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. Where am I? So I'm not entirely sure what happened there. I got flung around quite a lot. We seem to be all the way over here now. Okay, I've adjusted the fans at the front here, and they definitely seem to be working now. We've just got some tiny little fans. If I hop out, we can see those. And for some reason, all the animations are working now as well. But that fan enables us to turn left, and there's one on this side which lets us turn right. They look horrible, though. Absolutely horrible. So we're definitely going to have to change how they look at some point. But if we go right in the middle here, we'll be pointing straight, which is good. So, can I land back over there on my platform? That is the question. Start by facing the right direction. So roughly that way, and then we need to get some thrust. Or not. Something's going weird. Oh, it's only sort of stuck half the sail to itself. Well, that didn't work. Our fan just fell off again, and it seems to have loads of random stuff stuck to it as well. And this is what we've been left with. Fantastic. Let's see if we can just muster up enough power to get home, and then we can fix the situation. Okay, well, we're moving. We need to go slightly more to the left, though. And we're not moving particularly fast, but we should at least be able to limp our way back to our platform and fix the problems we've discovered, of which there were many. Short while later, and we've made some changes to the airship. We've got a new fan on the back. It's not quite as big as the last one. I don't think it needed to be as big as it was. I've wrapped the top area in some wood that we can actually attach the ropes to, so that's looking a lot better, and it also means if the ropes break, it's not quite so much of an issue for me. Fans we had stuck to the side here that looked absolutely awful but let us turn left and right are now hidden on the inside of the ship, which I'll show you in a moment, but most importantly, look at this. We actually have power. So the new item to talk about here is, of course, the steam vents. And these work much like the hot air generators we had before. If they have a redstone power, then they will go up. But they run on a steam engine. So what we've actually got down here is we've got a mechanical arm that's taking coal and feeding it into the burners over here. I've only put 3 blaze burners under here, and I'm hoping that's going to create enough lift for us to actually be able to take off. We've then also got a generator down here, which is making sure that water is always being fed into this. Essentially, if the whole thing stops, it'll be able to restart itself without me having to wind stuff. We've then got this power routed through and going to the propeller on the back, which I'm hoping is going to give us more control over the speed of the propeller. area. And you may notice the stairs have completely gone now. I've actually moved them over here to the side because there wasn't space in the middle anymore, what with a big steam engine there. But I do love that this has two purposes. It gives us power and it fills the balloon. Now, if we go down this ladder here, it's the only way to get over to this side. These are now the turning fans that we have in the back. So it's the same setup we had before. I've just pulled everything inside, so it's a little bit more compact around the back here. And of course, we've still got all of our ballast because I haven't figured out another way to actually balance the ship yet. I should probably make sure we've got the same amount of ballast on each side. There we go. So what I'm hoping now is that when we take off, we'll actually be able to maybe fly around a little bit. So let's see if we can fly over to the oil rig. That's the only big flat area I can think to land on. So first step is to assemble this thing. Oh, all the animations have stopped. Hopefully the power's still going. Guess there's only one way to find out. Let's raise the balloon. Let's see how balanced we are. Okay, it's working. Ooh. Oh, we're fairly balanced at the moment. Yeah, look at that. Maybe a little bit sunk down at the back. But let's start up the engines. And I believe the higher the number, the slower we go. And we're definitely tilting a lot more now that we're moving. There's no way for an airship to fly. Especially without animations. It just looks weird. Pretty quick, though. Right, so if we want to go to the oil rig, we need to go in that direction. So let's turn to the right. Yeah, look at that. Oh, all the animations have started up. Whoa. Okay, that's cool. Oh, more graphical glitches, though. Those are supposed to be on the inside of my boat. But if anyone has any idea what mod might be the problem with causing those graphical glitches, I'd love to hear from you, because they're quite annoying. So we're above the oil rig. Why are we suddenly falling out of the sky? Oh, I think I overstressed the engine by trying to make the propellers go too fast at the back there. Certainly not the most delicate of approaches so far. It would just need to go over to the left a little bit. Well, it wasn't the most delicate of landings. I'm sure we'll get better with practice, but we have made it all the way over to the rig, and weirdly, the animations actually work fine on the ship over here. They just don't seem to work over there. Every time I leave that area, all the animations come on. It's very odd. But for a first attempt and in survival, I'm pretty pleased with that. I mean, there's a lot of work we can do to make the boat look better, but mostly I just want to be able to balance it. It doesn't seem to balance very well at all. And there is a gimbal sensor here as well as gimbal propellers. And I did have a little look and see how this worked. I tried to have a play around with it. It did not go well. So if anyone can point me in the direction of a video that actually does show how to use these things properly, because I think that's what I need to be able to actually write my airship, then please let me know. And I know we've barely scratched the surface with aeronautics, but, well, we've got plenty of time on this world to do so. But that was certainly a very fun first experience. But sadly, that is all we've got time for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye now.